Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Todd Clint's SharePoint podcast, episode number 357, recorded live Monday, September 25th from Ignite in Orlando. And we got a crowd here. Crowd, whoop it up for, we have an actual, that was not added. That I didn't put a laugh track in. That was actual people here that was cheering away.
Your editing skills are pretty good. If you got applause noise in the recording now, that was great editing.
There's nothing but true. No, we're doing this live. We're doing it from Ignite. One of the things that Ignite was doing was they have a podcasting booth. They did it last year and maybe the year before, and let us podcasters come in and do this. And it's great. We've got a great production staff. You guys are all invited to Iowa next Monday to do 358 from my basement. So we'll get that taken care of. You guys in the crowd also overflow. Sorry. No room in Iowa, except for James, because you live in Iowa, so you can, yeah. But yeah, so it's a pretty cool opportunity. We talked about doing it last year, and I was kind of nervous and didn't actually execute on it, but I'm glad we did.
Well, to be fair, you're nervous today, but we got a couple drinks in you at lunch, and so that's how we were able to get him through all this, right?
Snuck something into my tea.
Yeah.
So speaking of all that in the production, we always talk about the production notes and the things that I screw up. For those of you that have been watching the podcasts, you'll notice we missed a couple. So depending on whether you look on my blog or on YouTube, we're either missing 353 and 354, or 354 and 355. So I've been talking the last couple of weeks about how I have these PowerShell scripts that I've used to automate stuff. And there's one of them that uses an index file that keeps track of which podcast is next. And I was testing some stuff and forgot to reset that. So I was testing things and it just kept going up. And then I just did the next podcast and didn't even notice it. So this is officially 357, even though it's not 357. So we're living with it. The other great production failure we have is we had another name picked out. So I've been talking for years now, 2 years probably, about renaming this thing.
Yep.
And we had a name. And we liked it. We talked about it in Slack. We talked to some of the folks that listen. We liked it. We started getting all the social media properties, Instagram and Facebook, ones we'd never heard of before. Twitter became a problem. We couldn't get it in Twitter. And then we went to get it, and we found out somebody else already had the podcast name.
Yeah, it's been rough, right? And you guys know, right? That's the whole reason I have bold zebras, right? I don't have the little bold zebra behind me today, but that's the whole reason. Naming things is really hard. Naming shows, naming companies, naming children.
Naming
it's
children.
all hard.
That's how my son was almost named Trash Can. We almost couldn't. Yeah, it's.
But yeah, so we tried, right? We had a great name. It was perfect. We came up with a good little Twitter handle. And then as soon as we started buying properties, right? You even bought the domain.
Yeah, I bought several domains.
And we got like 2 seconds away from going live, and one of them broke apart. Turns out, I guess we can share, right? No one knows, or I never knew, Twitter handles can only be up to 15 characters. Our Twitter handle was 16 characters, and
yeah, and so we used and I wish I had it in the notes. We used a website that will go out and check for names. So you can put in a name, and it will check all the social media platforms and tell you where it's taken. And so we did that, and this name was not taken, but it was over the length for Twitter, and it didn't tell us that. So we're like, oh, sweet, it's free on Twitter. So I mean, I guess we both knew that there would be letter restrictions, but we didn't know exactly where it is. We now know exactly where it is. 15 characters good, 16 characters bad.
Yep.
But we decided to we were going to work around it anyway.
Yep. And
so then we were going to do it. We were going to announce it today. And just in poking around at different versions of that, we found somebody had a podcast with the same title 6 years ago, and they did 3 episodes. But it's in iTunes. It's in all of the podcast aggregators. There hasn't been an episode since October of 2011 after their 3rd episode. So now we're kind of back to the drawing board.
Yeah, we messed up. We should have said camera 3 over here.
That's camera.
No, that's camera 1.
That's camera 2.
See, look, my man knows. See, that's 1, that's 2. See, wait, how
Shane was trying to count before we went live, and
I'm not good at it. But anyway, all right, so we tried to rename the show. We thought we'd have one to announce today, and we literally just figured out that that's not going to fly.
Yeah, like 2 hours ago. So we're back at the drawing board. So if you've got suggestions, hit us up on Twitter, at Todd Clint.
At Shane's Cows.
Yep, so we're back to the drawing board on that. But enough with the bad news. Let's talk about fun stuff. We're at Ignite. They've been talking about all kinds of great things from Ignite. So we're here podcasting from here. We got a great crowd in here. You could put these things in your agenda. I looked right before we went on air. 500 people put this in their schedule.
Oh.
So there's 23,000 people here. 500 of them put this. And for seating-wise, there's about 20 or so there. Another, I don't know. Fortunately, they didn't all show up, so that's good.
But so we ended up with about 20 people, and like 7 of these people were on the payroll to be here. So
yep.
We had like 5 or 6 people who had nothing better to do.
Yep.
There's free snacks. I had a beef stick beforehand.
The
Maybe
snacks
that's why
over there, yeah, help yourself to the snacks and the drinks. But yeah, and so thanks to all the people that put it together. So we've got our man Julius there, who's behind the mic, and Allie, who was kind of putting us all together. Great crew, and I felt kind of out of place because I showed up here and they're like, well, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? And I'm like, I don't. I'm like a guy in his basement that's got a copy of Camtasia. I got a webcam. I don't do anything. So they were very understanding. They spoke to me very slowly, used small words. So it was good. So I appreciate all that.
All right, well, let's just jump into, let's talk about it tonight, being here with, what do you say, 23,000?
23,000 registered attendees.
And then there's also the other event happening.
Yep, Engage.
Envision. Another 7,000 people,
Yep.
so 30,000 people.
Between, attendees, Microsoft employees, vendors, all that kind of stuff. It is insane. So if you haven't been to the Orange County Convention Center before, it's actually multiple buildings. It's roughly the size of the town I grew up in. And there are about 10 times more people here than there are in the town I grew up in. It is just massive, but it's great stuff.
But not as many cows, right?
Far fewer cows and pigs.
Gotcha.
And so we're in Orlando in September, so it is 110 degrees and 97% humidity outside, and about 40 degrees inside. So I'm gonna take some crud back with me. I'm gonna get a cold or pneumonia or something.
Yeah. It was really weird to pack, right? Because when they're wearing jeans, they had long sleeve shirts. I'm like, I came prepared for the Arctic rooms that we're in, right? The nice camera lady back there's in a sweater. She's like, it's cold in here.
She's got gloves on with the fingertips. Yeah, it's so it's tough to pack, but that's just how it is. But it's good stuff. So one of the things that we want to talk about, and I've talked about it on the podcast a little bit and didn't kind of follow through with it, but they've got an exam center here. So if any of you guys are thinking about taking exams, it's one of those places, Hyatt Regency, that way. Yeah. So I took an exam today, and it's the identity exam, the Office 365 exam, and I didn't really study for it as well as I probably should have. I was going to do the study group. We talked about that, and I never really did it. But I scheduled the exam early. It was the first slot they had open because I was expecting to fail, and I would have the rest of the week to take it as many times as I needed to. But then I messed up, and I passed. So I don't have to say this. So I went and I picked my stuff up, and they're like, oh, congratulations. And I'm like, well, I kind of don't know what to do with the rest of my week now because I figured I was going to have to study and keep taking this test, and I passed it. So that was 7346, and that's the Office 365 identity and credentials or something, I forget.
And what kind of questions did you see? What was the,
I detected a pattern as I was coming through this, and the pattern was ADFS.
Heard of that?
ADFS and single sign-on and federation all the way through. So if any of you guys are thinking about taking that exam, know ADFS, know all of that, know the commands you need, know how to set the servers up, the namespaces, the certificates, all that kind of stuff. I probably violated anything I signed when I took the exam by talking about the exam. It's like the NFL. You can't talk about, all that. But yeah, so if you're thinking about taking the exams, they're half price here, and they've got practice exams. So if you sign up for an exam here, they've got free practice exams you can take. They also have study groups for the exams, so you can go sit in there and somebody will walk you through. It's another one that has a million things to do here. That's just another great thing to do while you're here.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting though, right? You passed it. I'm kind of proud. It's
I'm
a miracle.
surprised. I don't know what to do.
It's almost as much of a miracle. One of the things they talked about earlier today in the keynote was quantum computing, right? Same type of thing.
They spent a lot of time at the keynote getting us up to speed on high-level physics and quantum computing. How many of you guys were at the keynote? Did you guys all get lost in that? They're talking about the square root of I and all that kind of. It was really weird, and then. So we've been doing these Microsoft events for a decade now, and they are practiced and scripted within an inch of their life. I mean, they never miss a beat. And so they were talking about it, and they had physicists and computer scientists and all these people, doctorates up on stage, and they're like, all right, we're going to show you the thing, and they roll the partition away, and the thing wasn't there. I've never seen like a big mess up like that. And so they, rolled it back, somebody scooted it out, and they rolled it back out again. But it was interesting stuff, but I was kind of frustrated because I don't think any of that stuff's going to be things I'm going to deal with in my career. I just don't know what's going to happen, that we're going to figure out how to run computers at 0 Kelvin and get all that done. It was an odd use of time, I think. There's a lot of great things to talk about here. Talking to us about quantum physics seemed to be odd.
I guess my theory, right, is one is twofold. That's how I'm really good at math. That's going to be the name of this show. I can already tell. Shane is really good at math. But one is that the whole idea that Maybe quantum computing is going to show up faster than we think, right? So the same problems that we had with cloud, right? We're like, yeah, cloud is dumb,
That's
on-prem
true.
forever.
That's true.
And now look at us. I mean, we're at a conference that's pretty much dedicated to cloud.
Yep. Yep.
But the other thing is the problem with the cloud today. There's not a lot of big announcements to be had because, unfortunately, every time something new shows up, they release it that day. They're like, hey, we got a new feature. It rolled out last night. Yay!
Yeah.
And so at a show like this, they can't be like, hey, here's all these great new things we're going to do because they've already released all the new things. And all the things they're not talking about yet are not ready to be talked about. It's a catch-22 there.
I hadn't thought about that, but we talked about that over lunch, and that's exactly the thing. At previous shows, we're like, all right, the new version of Windows, they're going to be talking about the new version. But we already know, they're sliding all the features in, and there's just not much to talk about anymore. So now we're learning about that.
Yeah.
The other great thing, I heard a bunch of stuff about Azure Stack. So this is 3 years running now that Azure Stack is next. So this is going to be the year of Azure Stack. It's going to be the year of the Linux desktop. I think we've got a lot of things coming this year. So
I'm over the Azure Stack, right? So the first Azure Stack was when I still worked for that one company.
Yep.
And they announced Azure Stack at one of his events.
Chicago Ignite.
Yeah, my boss was like, why don't we have a message around Azure Stack? And I'm like, it's not real. She's like, no, they just announced it. I'm like, well, I just announced that Shane's going to Mars. I mean, there's the same amount of reality there. And she just couldn't buy it. And so the second time they announced it, we said, yeah, whatever. So this is third time. Is third time a charm?
I hope so. So for those of you that haven't been following it, Azure Stack is a private cloud version of Azure, so you have it inside of your premises and you can do all the Azure things. It's got the same endpoints as Azure, so you can move workloads back and forth and all that. It sounds really cool, and I'm super excited to play with it if it ever comes out to where we can play with it.
They claim it's shipping now, so maybe now the fact that it's actually shipping.
Now this is the year.
Yeah, I'm on my rocket ship too.
Next Ignite, we'll talk about it. So one of the other things that was interesting watching the keynotes and looking at the session outlines and all that is I remember the SharePoint Conference 2012.
Yep.
As a SharePoint community, we were worried about SharePoint. We thought SharePoint was going to go away. We figured it was going to get rolled into Office 365 and it was just going to kind of be a thing. It was dark days for SharePoint.
Yep.
And now I look 5 years later and SharePoint is on fire. It is, the rumors of its demise have been greatly exaggerated. All kinds of great things. I got a shout out in the keynote. There's going to be some big announcements later this week, tomorrow I think. So it's just interesting to look back at that and think about how, again, we didn't see the whole picture, but Jeff Teeper's back in the fold now, and great things are happening. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I guess the key with SharePoint, though, right, is it has evolved, right? The SharePoint that we knew and loved, the on-prem SharePoint,
Yep.
it hasn't really done much in the last 5 years, but SharePoint in the cloud, or SharePoint Online, I guess is the proper name, is it's had a good track record.
Yeah, so it was just interesting to look at that because again we thought it was over and now it's better than ever.
Well, and that was also before we started wearing blue shirts for everything too. So.
Matching blue shirts.
Once again, folks, we did not plan it, but those of you who watch the video version, we are both wearing blue shirts.
Lovely blue shirts.
Today.
Yeah, that's all. And I was not going to wear a blue shirt, and then I was looking into my suitcase this morning and packed almost all blue shirts.
You don't own anything with blue
I think I
shirts.
don't. I blame my wife for throwing my clothes out. So we can talk about a few things. So again, there's some big SharePoint announcements coming later this week.
Yep.
So we've heard. And one of the things, for those of you that are here, Dan Holm on the SharePoint team, good friend of ours, tweeted something today about apparently there are a bunch of sessions that they haven't announced yet because the titles are going to give away things that they haven't announced yet. So as SharePoint sessions start happening today and tomorrow, keep looking for SharePoint sessions in the guide because there's going to be some stuff. And I hadn't heard that, so that was an interesting tip. And I think maybe Jeff Teeper or somebody retweeted it, so it's a real thing. But we can talk about a few things that they've announced. One of them they announced is this new multi-geo capability inside of Office 365. So this is the ability to have a single Office 365 tenant, but be able to designate certain users having data in certain spots. And so different countries have data residency rules, laws, things like that. And so this is going to be a way to have one central administrative tenant, but be able to have, satisfy these laws and say, Hans here, he's from Germany. All of his stuff in my tenant will stay in German data centers. We'll all that. But somebody in Canada, all their stuff can stay in Canada, but they're all the same Outlook Exchange or Outlook or Exchange Online, all the same Skype for Business. When their data at rest stays there, their backups stay there. This is one of those things that has really hurt Microsoft when it comes to cloud adoption, is this data sovereignty thing. And like 5 and 7 years ago when we were making fun of the cloud, it doesn't do this, it doesn't do this, it doesn't do this. now it does this, and it does this, and it does it pretty well.
It's like they listen, right? They just took that checklist. We used to rattle these things off. They're like, gotcha, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. And the data residency, that's been a big one, I think. And there's a lot of new laws coming out of Europe soon. I think that those are really to try and get out in front of. But it sounds like it's all on the back end as well, right? Your users won't know that their data is only being kept in their country and that stuff.
There will be no user piece of that at all, even to the point where if somehow we were able to woo Hans and get him to move over to the US, he would still have no idea that any of his stuff changed. We would tweak it in the background, we would change his location, they would move it all in the background. The next time you fired Outlook up, it would go to the right server, it would just work. So that's pretty interesting stuff. And it sounds like they're already previewing it on Exchange and OneDrive. And then they're going to be making that generally available the beginning of next calendar year, is what they've said.
First half of the year for that one,
First half of 2018. And then they're also going to be doing a preview of that for SharePoint Online also.
Yeah, I don't know what the SharePoint one looks like. That sounds like it might be a little tougher to kind of keep the data.
I assume that'll be at the site collection level. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't looked at that much. Because that's essentially what OneDrive is, right? So, my OneDrive would be one place, all that. So in the show notes, we'll put some links on that, but that was on the blogs.microsoft.com or blogs.office.com page that those are at. So that's, again, I remember so very vividly, again, 7 years ago, you and I would talk to customers and they would say, we've heard about this BPOS thing or this Office 365 thing. Should we think about this? And we would laugh and we would go down our list and we're like, stop you when you've heard enough. And they would laugh some more and then we would do on-prem SharePoint. That list over the years getting shorter and shorter.
Yep.
And this is just another case of that. So it's good stuff. In other news, earlier this month, some website stuff leaked out, and it suggested that maybe Skype for Business was going to go away and going to be replaced by a newer, sexier product, Teams. And Microsoft's like, no, we would never do that, never. Well, announced today, they've changed their mind. No, so the rumors are true. Skype for Business as a product is going to go away, and its functionality is going to be rolled into Teams. And so that Teams is one of those things. Teams came out a few months ago, kind of like a Slack, also ran. It was kind of not exciting. They've been adding things. They've been plugging those holes up, and it's now starting to, they added guest users here not too long ago. And
I think Teams is an interesting one, right? Because Slack did. Slack came out of nowhere, made $1 billion, or not made $1 billion, we got $1 billion valuation overnight. Yeah. And Microsoft kind of took notice and said, wait a minute, you guys are kind of coming for our space. So they rolled out Teams, and then the same type of story. People are like, hey, here are all the things that are missing in Teams, and Microsoft's just like, got it.
Yep. So, and that's one of the things that Microsoft and a lot of companies are doing now is this whole idea of MVP, minimal viable product. This idea that they're going to get just enough out to make it an actual product and then start iterating on it and not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Yep.
They let it be good enough. And so Teams is a great example of that. They got just enough out, and then they're dropping those features on, and the next thing you know, it's actually kind of a pretty cool product.
Yeah.
So Teams is gonna take that. So they're gonna be adding new functionality. Obviously, it's gonna be able to make regular phone calls to PSTN, our regular phone networks. It's gonna have hold, transfer, voicemail, those kind of things, audio and video conferencing, all the stuff that you do with Skype for Business. But it's not all bad news for Skype for Business. They recognize that a lot of companies have needs for on-prem servers and all that kind of stuff. So they have agreed they're going to put out at least one more version of Skype for Business next year and make that transition easy for folks that have to do that. So that was nice of them. I like that.
Yeah, well, I also think they're looking at one of the major holes of our friend Slack, right? Slack is good at the messaging part, but the voice integration and all that has never worked for me. I don't know if you've messed with it too much.
Played a little bit with it, but yeah.
All right, it's always been a little suspect. Whereas Skype that was what it was first. It's got all the call features already built in, so hopefully it gives them a chance to really leapfrog Slack. And I guess if you're Slack, you should be like going, man, we probably need to go out and buy somebody who does PTSN stuff. So
I was talking to some of the OneDrive product team a couple of days ago, and they were talking about all the new things that are coming to OneDrive. And again, keep an eye on OneDrive. As SharePoint folks, we're OneDrive folks. It's all the same stuff these days. And he was talking about how much they watch user voice. And if there's a feature you want in OneDrive, put it in user voice. And they were talking about all the features they've added in the last year, and they're like, and this is how many of them you guys put into user voice, and you voted up. We listened to you guys. And he's like, so thank you for this. He's like, our competitors also thank you for this, because they look to see what you guys want, and they try to put it in their own product. So this is going to be the same kind of thing for Slack. They're going to watch Teams. They're going to see what parts of Teams people like, and that's going to let them, kind of decide what they want to add.
Now, do you think they're nefarious enough to go in like, you know what, we know the competitors are watching. Let's put in a feature no one wants, and then just upvote it 10,000 times.
So they spend their time on that. So another thing we don't have in the notes, but at the keynote this morning, they were showing some augmented reality stuff with the new HoloLens stuff, which was really, really cool stuff. They had some folks from Ford up there, and they had a mock-up of a car, and they were showing the holographic image of changing things on the car, and they could see it in real time, and they could put notes on the thing. And then that was integrated into Teams. So somebody put a note on the thing and said, check out the angle of this grill vent, and then it immediately created a topic in Teams, so that the team that dealt with it could have that to work with. So having all of those products from the same company and integrated well, there's some good stuff there.
Synergies, right?
Synergy, yes. So that's good.
So we got some new Office 365 SKUs today.
Yep.
One for education, which I think is pretty
obvious.
And the other one's your favorite, F1.
I got very excited about this. I'm like, finally, race car drivers get their own SKU of Office 365. This has been a long time coming. In the U.S., we're all NASCAR, but F1's kind of a big deal. Finally, and then Shane's like, no, it's not for that. It's for frontline workers.
Front. F is
and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, and so this is going to be another pared down version of Office 365 that will give just the the users they need, and the licensing aspect of Office 365. A few licenses for these users and for is a great way for companies to spend just the amount of money they need. The a la carte licensing. So just adding another one of those, I like that. That's good stuff.
Yeah, it segues them well into another announcement they made, right? And that announcement was around the new Windows 10 S machines, right? So really what it is, they said, hey, Chromebooks, those look like they're being really successful. And so Microsoft announced their own versions of Chromebook today.
Yep.
But the idea is that it's an integrated device. So not only is it running Windows 10 S with the hardware, but it's also then got like this Office 365 F1 license or education license. So you just have a already built, already configured machine you put in front of somebody, they log in, they've got the Office they need, they've got the different pieces. So it's a pretty all-up kind of announcement there, and it's really just, to me, he's aimed right at the Chromebook.
Yeah, and so that Windows 10 S, they announced that, whatever that event was in May when they announced the new hardware, and it's a pared-down version that only runs apps from the App Store, so it's more secure, but also a lot easier to provision. So now there's this idea that if I've got a Windows 10 S device, I can only install things from the store. If that device explodes, I can get another Windows 10 S device, join it to my domain. There's a list somewhere of all the apps that I've downloaded from the store. They get shot down onto that device, and I'm back up and running right away. And then, the idea of having all my stuff in OneDrive, now that's all available. So they've been kind of working towards that, and I think that's a good thing. So yeah, they've added this new license for that and working it into the Office or the Microsoft 365 thing. The low power devices, yeah, that's absolutely going towards the Chromebooks, and almost like disposable devices. I mean, it's almost, yeah, you lose your laptop, you're like, it's $275, I'm just going to grab another one.
Yeah, that's what they said, right? The devices are going to start at $275, which is, it's not worth fixing.
Yeah,
Make it a Frisbee. We'll go play some Frisbee golf.
Ultimate laptoping, yeah.
Ultimate laptoping, I like it.
So
I think you could hit that guy. Yeah, see, he agrees.
Yeah. And the OneDrive stuff, talking about the easy provisioning and all that, one of the things that OneDrive has done, you make fun of me for this all the time. I really like OneDrive, and
really, would you want to talk about OneDrive?
I'm very shy about that. But one of the things that OneDrive added a few months ago and has been quietly improving is this built-in file viewers.
Yep.
And so you don't need to have applications installed to listen to a video that you've got in or listen to an audio file you've got in OneDrive. Or if you've got a 3D drawing, you don't have to have this big fat client installed. If it's in OneDrive, you can just bring it up. And so they've been quietly doing that in the background. Well, this all fits in too, because now you've got this, this $275 device. You don't have to worry about if you've got all the applications you need for all your files, because OneDrive does a bunch of the heavy lifting for you. So there's nothing to load, there's nothing to forget, and you just come in and it just loads up. So, I mean, these pieces are all coming in from everywhere. I'm excited about it.
And that reminds me, so we got OneDrive, we got OneNote, we got Xbox One, What if we just named the show One Podcast?
One podcast.
Right,
It's probably taken. It's
Oh.
if it wasn't, somebody who's listening now is going to go out and buy it.
That's what it is. Well, so we go one podcast, three podcast.
Yeah.
No math. Sorry, all right, it was a bad joke. I tried.
Yeah. So it being at Ignite, so you guys, all this stuff streaming live. You know, there's people watching this that they stream the keynotes live, and all the sessions will be on Channel 9 and all that. But getting here and talking to people and seeing this stuff and all the exhibits, that's really where this value comes from. And
There's a lot of people. I wouldn't even
they're
pay
serving
attention.
food. We should.
Oh, food. That's why. I got you. Don't tell these people.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just good. You weren't originally weren't going to be able to make it. Last minute, you were able to come down, and it's. I'm glad you did. The energy, the networking and stuff's good.
You miss me?
A little bit.
And we look better in the blue shirts side by side than we do when
Oh
they're
my God.
pasted together.
Yep. So anything else you want to add from Ignite that you've seen or done or?
No, I mean, I think, like you said, it's the people, the energy. I think that's always a reinvigorating.
It's you folks right here that made this all worth it, and you folks in the overflow also don't,
Yeah, don't let them down, right?
Yep.
But no, it's walking on the halls. So I ran into Richard Riley. I don't know if I told you that. I haven't seen him in 10 years.
Yep.
I saw Lori and got a big hug. I mean, that's priceless right there.
Yeah.
That's worth the flights.
It's and we've described these things forever as like high school reunions,
Yes.
but with the people that you actually like, not the people that stuff in
There's
your
a few
lockers and
people I
stuff
don't
like that.
like.
Yeah. But it's just getting to and seeing all the things you don't normally see as IT pros, especially like you and I, we get tunnel vision because we work on some stuff all the time, but we're exposed to all these other things here, and it's good to see it, and I don't know, good to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, and appreciate the venue and getting to hang out and
Yeah.
bright lights. As our famous started. You guys would remember, before Tech Ed Ignite podcast and after. That would be kind of like our life moments.
Before we ever rename this thing, after we rename it.
All right, well, I guess we're a promotion then.
Yeah, let's wind it down. So you're doing something here?
Yeah, SharePoint Cincinnati, October 14th at the Eastgate Holiday Inn. It'll be
a venue very similar to this one, and an event very similar to the one you're experiencing
You mean the size
right
of
now.
this room that we're in?
Yeah,
right now?
I mean
Yes.
just this half of the side of this room, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be pretty cool. It sounds like Bill Bear is going to come down and do the keynote, though.
That's a pretty big deal. So we've known Bill forever. He's just but he's a big deal at Microsoft. He's a senior product manager, something.
Yeah, I'm going to do my best to get him arrested when I'm there. I think I know enough people.
Oh, that would be odd. That'd be a good story. You'll never come to one of these events again, but you'll have a good reason why. Yeah. So do you know what you're going to talk about there? Was it PowerShell?
Yeah, I think it's getting started with SharePoint and PowerShell, right? So the P&P stuff, I think we've talked about that before. Yep. Oh, not too many P's though.
Yeah, you pop when you pee. Yeah. So for those of you that we've talked about before, there's going to be some great P&P sessions, the patterns and practices stuff, by the people that are actually writing it. So you have a chance to see those folks do it and come up and congratulate them and thank them for all the hard work they've done. The other thing that's funny, so Jeff Snover, who is a huge deal at Microsoft, he is the godfather of PowerShell. He owns it all.
Big fan of the show too, right?
Yeah, we saved a spot for him. He'll be here, I'm sure, any minute. But he tweeted out earlier today that he's got some PowerShell stickers, and if you come up to him and get a selfie with him and tweet it out, he'll give you a sticker. So we actually saw him at lunch, but we let the man eat because
manners and all that.
Yeah, we'll hunt him down. But we're trying to we don't want to be fanboys and get all gushy and all that, and we're like, so we'll have to introduce Shane as hey Jeff, this is the face of PowerShell on YouTube. Because if you go to YouTube and search for PowerShell, this joker's mug is the one that comes up, and he's got like 6 of the top 10 videos on PowerShell. But we're thinking like that will probably crush Jeff Snover's spirit. Like all these decade plus of work that he's done, this is what came out of it.
Yeah, so we're going to check and make sure he doesn't take heart medication or that stuff before we tell him
people.
That. So.
But again, if you love PowerShell, and shame on you if you don't. If you see Jeff Snover, super approachable guy, and again, he put that tweet out. So, thank him for his hard work, and that makes stuff like this possible.
All right, and then you got the Thrive Conference.
So I'm going to Slovenia here in a couple of months. I'm going to be talking about same kind of stuff, PowerShell, Azure Active Directory. Some huge things got announced about this week, some new Azure Active Directory stuff, but I'm going to be out there. So if you're going to be in Slovenia, passing through November 8th and 9th, come say hi to that.
It says beautiful Slovenia in the notes.
It is beautiful. Have you been there? It's a great place.
Oh, and then speaking of beautiful, I'm going to be speaking at the Southern California user group.
He means Southern California is beautiful, not that he's beautiful. It's the location.
I think I'm very pretty.
I think you're not.
Donovan said I'm pretty. See?
Donovan
See?
hit the free alcohol a little early though, and that's his judgment's a little suspect.
It could be. But so December 5th, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, which is like past my bedtime.
Yeah, it's like
Eastern
the next
time.
day in Cincinnati. Yeah.
So it might be a little rough, but same type of deal. We're talking about SharePoint and PowerShell, kind of helping their PowerShell group get started, because it's not a SharePoint group, it is a PowerShell group.
Yeah.
And they want some SharePoint love, so
Yeah.
I'll be there.
And so we talk to a lot of people, we've been doing this for a long time. One of the things that we always tell people is if you're a PowerShell person, even if you don't consider yourself any sort of expert whatsoever, you have done something that somebody else wants to do and doesn't know how. And so user groups like this one in Southern California that are coming up and trying to find speakers, one of the toughest things in a user group is finding speakers. If you've done anything in PowerShell, don't talk yourself out of it. Reach out to these people. We'll put a link in the show notes. Offer to come speak. That's how you get, you build confidence. You get that. We recommend it to anybody. Everybody's got something to share that's valuable, and we recommend it. Even that guy.
I can't argue.
So yeah, for this fledgling group, help them out if you've got some PowerShell. So I think that's it. I think we've got, we hit our half-hour mark. I'm seeing the free sliders are calling my name down there.
I know, but I just like talking to the camera. I just want to stay here and talk for a while. Can we do that? No? Okay.
These people have much better things to do.
All right.
So thanks everybody for showing up. We're going to stick around for a while and say hey and all that, so don't run off. Thanks to the cast. For those of you that are here, there's going to be a bunch of other great podcasts. Paul Thurrott and I think Mary Jo are doing Windows Weekly here. Him and Brad are doing First Ring Daily. AC and CJ are doing their thing tomorrow or Wednesday or whatever. So take advantage of this. Let the Ignite folks know that this is a valuable thing so we can come back. And I think thanks to everybody, and for those of you that listen to the recording, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks. Not so bad, sir. Excellent.